Johnny Depp made over $650 million during his career. Pirates of the Caribbean alone paid him $300 million. But in 2017, he was broke. So broke that he had to sell his private island and was spending $2 million a month just to stay afloat. How does someone who earned more money than most small countries will ever see end up financially ruined? You'd think with that kind of money, you're set for life. Your kids are set. Your grandkids are set. But here's what nobody talks about. It doesn't matter how much money flows through your hands. What matters is how much stays. And that has nothing to do with how smart you are or how much you earn. It's about something completely different. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Why do some people build wealth that lasts generations while others, no matter how much they make, always seem to struggle? There's this book called The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, and it completely changed how I see money. It's not about budgets or investment strategies or any of that stuff. It's about the weird, irrational, deeply human ways we think about money. What I'm about to share with you isn't some get-rich-quick scheme. It's about understanding why our brains make us do stupid things with money and how to work with that instead of against it. Lesson 1. Getting rich versus staying rich are different games. This one completely changed how I think about wealth when I read it. Getting wealthy and staying wealthy are completely different skills. Getting wealthy is about taking risks, starting businesses, investing in growth stocks, making bold moves. It's about being optimistic and aggressive. But staying wealthy is about being paranoid. It's about assuming things will go wrong and preparing for them. It's about having enough saved that you can survive anything. Most people who get rich quickly also lose it quickly. They keep playing the same game that got them there, but now they have way more to lose. The book talks about how lottery winners are a perfect example of this. They got rich instantly, but they never learned how to stay rich. Most end up broke within a few years because they kept spending like the money would never run out. The truly wealthy get this. Once they have enough, they stop trying to hit home runs and start trying not to strike out. They become more conservative, more careful, more focused on not losing what they've built. It's like the difference between climbing a mountain and staying on top of it. Completely different skills, but you need both. Once you have something, shift your focus from growing it to protecting it. Lesson 2. Saving beats earning. This is going to sound backwards, but saving money is more powerful than making money. I know, it sounds crazy, but think about it this way. You can't control your income as much as you think. Your boss decides your salary. The market decides if your business succeeds, but you have complete control over your spending. Housel shares research showing that people with identical incomes can have completely different financial outcomes. Two teachers making the same salary for 10 years. One ends up with significant savings, the other has nothing. The difference? One understood that every dollar mattered. The other figured they'd worry about money later when they made more. Here's what's beautiful about saving. It's the only part of building wealth that's completely up to you. You can't force your boss to give you a raise. You can't guarantee your investments will go up, but you can decide not to buy that thing you don't really need. Every dollar you don't spend is a dollar that starts working for you. And unlike your job, that money never calls in sick, never asks for vacation, never quits to work for someone else. The wealthy understand this. They don't just focus on making more money. They focus on the gap between what they make and what they spend. That gap is everything. Takeaway. Focus on the gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap is your wealth. Lesson 3. Wealth is what you don't see. You know what's crazy? The richest people rarely look rich at all. Morgan Housel tells this story in his book about how most millionaires drive used cars. The average millionaire drives a car that's several years old, not because they can't afford a new one, but because they understand something most people don't. Meanwhile, the person with the brand new BMW in the parking lot, they might be drowning in debt. The BMW is leased, the designer clothes are on credit cards. They look rich, but they're actually poor. This happens everywhere. The person in the expensive suit might be living paycheck to paycheck. The one in jeans and a t-shirt might be financially free. Real wealth isn't what you spend, it's what you don't spend. It's the money sitting in your account, growing quietly while you sleep. There was this guy named Ronald Read, worked as a janitor his whole life, never made more than minimum wage. When he died, he left behind $8 million. Nobody saw it coming because wealth doesn't announce itself. The difference between looking rich and being rich? One impresses people at parties. The other actually changes your life. So, takeaway here is, stop trying to look wealthy. Start trying to become wealthy. Let me tell you about Ronald Read. Ronald was a janitor and gas station attendant in Vermont, never made more than minimum wage his entire life. He lived in the same small house for decades, fixed his own car, cut his own firewood. When he died at 92, he left behind $8 million. $8 million. How? He bought stocks and held them for decades. Through market crashes, recessions, boom times, he just held on. He didn't try to time the market or find the next hot stock. He bought shares in companies he understood and trusted, then basically forgot about them. His secret wasn't intelligence or luck, it was patience. He played the long game while everyone else played the short game. Ronald Read proved that ordinary people can build extraordinary wealth. If a janitor can become a millionaire, what's your excuse? Lesson 4. Luck and risk are bigger than you think. Here's something that makes people uncomfortable, and it's one of the biggest insights from the book. Luck and risk play a huge role in financial success, way bigger than we want to admit. Imagine two kids growing up in the 1970s. Both are smart, both love learning. One of them, Bill Gates, goes to a school that just happens to have a computer. This is at a time when 99.9% of schools don't even know what a computer is. That one random detail changed everything. He had years of practice before most people even saw a screen. That's luck. Not because he didn't work hard, but because millions of other kids worked hard too and didn't get that same head start. Now think about it the other way. Let's say you start a small business. You plan well, you're smart, you've saved. But the week you launch, a global pandemic hits. No one could have predicted it. You lose everything. That's risk. You didn't fail because you were lazy or stupid. You just got hit by something random. The same actions don't always lead to the same results. Two people can invest in the exact same stock. One gets rich because they sold at the right time. The other loses half their money because they waited a few days too long. That's not skill. That's timing, that's luck, or risk. The same actions can lead to wildly different outcomes. This means you can't just copy someone else's path to wealth. You can't read a biography and follow the exact same steps, because their path included elements of luck that you might not have and elements of risk that might hurt you. Lesson 5. Your history shapes your money story. One of the most powerful ideas in the book is this: your relationship with money was shaped long before you ever had any. Where you grew up, what your parents taught you, what you experienced, all of this creates your money story. Someone who grew up during the Great Depression sees money differently than someone who grew up during the boom years of the 1990s. Someone whose parents lost everything in a business failure thinks about risk differently than someone whose parents built wealth through starting companies. These stories aren't right or wrong, they're just different, but they powerfully influence how we save, spend, and invest. The problem comes when we assume everyone else should think about money the way we do, when we judge others for being too careful or too reckless. Without understanding their story, understanding your money story helps you make better decisions. If you know you're naturally too careful because of your upbringing, you can push yourself to take appropriate risks. If you know you're too aggressive because you grew up in boom times, you can force yourself to be more cautious. The goal isn't to change your story, it's to understand it and work with it. Most people won't learn these things until it's too late. But now that you know, use this knowledge wisely. Start small, stay consistent, and remember, building wealth isn't about being perfect. It's about being patient. If this opened your eyes like it did mine, hit that like button and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.